Discretion is advised.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey kids, what time is it?
Are you ready to begin? Let the games begin.
Hit it as we go a little something like this.
It's the Brian and Casey Experience, featuring Brian Thomas and Casey Cochran.
Hello. 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 Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Beg your pardon? Forgot to knock.
You must be joking.
Welcome to the Hanukkah. A tang-a-tang-tang. A tang-a-tang-tang-tang.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
Hey, everyone, come and see how good I look.
Does he look like a bitch?
Everybody be cool. You be cool.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
God, I love being a turtle!
Great Scott.
Crab cakes and football. That's what Maryland does. Everybody on? Good. Great.
Grand. Wonderful.
And here we go. And now, here's Brian and Casey.
Welcome, everyone, to the Brian and Casey Experience. Well, we can't say episode 27, so we're going to call it 26.5.
Kind of like Naked Gun 33 and a third?
Naked Gun 33 and a third. Yeah. Well, the crowd still likes it anyway. Whatever. I am your host, Brian Thomas. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Casey Cochran. We're recording, as usual, from the glorious Bachelor Pad Studios in Towson, Maryland. Towson, Maryland.
What's in that wine of yours, bud?
I don't know. But, yeah, which is currently lit up by your beautiful Christmas tree.
You like that?
I do.
I think I did a good job on the tree. I know I said it before, but I still think it sets the mood in here.
I think you need to put out some other decorations for, because as you know, it's not, you can't say Merry Christmas anymore. It's Happy. No, I'm not one of those guys, but still, there's other holidays that are out there.
It involves a light, doesn't it?
Eight lights.
Oh, I thought you were talking about 420. I was like, that already passed.
No,
no, not
we
that
at the
one.
Brian and Casey Experience do not condone illegal activity.
Yeah, but it's legal in some places, though.
Yeah, but it's not illegal to apparently in was it Washington?
Yeah.
It's illegal to, or excuse me,
it's legal.
It's legal to smoke marijuana, but it is illegal to purchase and or sell marijuana. So you can only smoke it if it falls out of the sky.
Oh, okay, I'll remember that.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, Case, you're obviously talking about the Festival of Lights.
The Festival of Lights.
Yes, which is called. See, I want to see if you can pronounce it.
Hanukkah.
Hanukkah.
The C is silent in Hanukkah.
It's not Django Unchained. The D is silent.
So I think you actually sent out a picture on your Twitter account the other day. You were driving downtown, I believe, and you saw the big giant menorah.
Did I?
Was that you?
No,
I know someone on Twitter.
No. I got to tell you this real quick. I'm driving back from work with my buddy Tommy B, Hollywood Bangs, and we see this Chevy Venture minivan, and I'm going to pull up the picture while we're doing this. It's a Chevy Venture minivan, has the menorah on top of it.
That's what it was.
And he's playing.
Dreidel.
I don't know what he was playing exactly, but he was definitely playing. And I'm sorry to say it this way. He's playing Jewish music. See that, Case?
Okay, that's what that was.
That's what that is. Yeah, driving on 695, you see that he's got a speaker, and I'm laughing at him the whole time. I thought it was hilarious. I don't know. Anyway, though, it is Hanukkah, and the fact that it is Hanukkah, we have a very special guest tonight, Case. He's I can't help but say Super Jew.
This is the part of the program where I facepalm myself.
Yeah, shaking his head.
Started out early, folks.
Yeah, it's been that kind of day. We have a special episode tonight, 26.5, that is. We have an
interview.
Okay, we have an interview. Okay. And he's taken the time out of his busy day
and this holiday season,
and he totally forgot that it was that time too.
Hey. All right.
But you can't, I'm not going to bust somebody's balls when he can't back it up. So without further ado, and he's laughing, and I'm going to really bust on him tonight also. I'd like to welcome a very special guest, the business manager of the Mike O'Mara Show, and the host of the Mark and Lowell Show, Mr. Lowell Melser. Marc Ronick.
What's up, fellas? Good to talk to you.
Yeah, I know Casey can't hear this, Mark, but you definitely can. So.
Thank you.
There's a reason I'm playing this. We couldn't help but notice that today marks the first day, and forgive me if I pronounce this incorrectly, Hanukkah.
No, that was actually very good, especially for a Hispanic person like yourself.
Thank you. I'm not Bolivian like your other co-host or your other buddy. It began at sundown, and I think what was so funny about it is that when Casey and I were talking to you, we asked you about doing the interview, and I'm like, you know what, Case? I was like, holy. I was like, does he know what day it is? Maybe he's not a good Jew after all.
Well, I've never claimed to be a good Jew, but when I saw you guys at Quench a little over a week ago, I had promised you guys that I would do this, and then we started talking a little bit about when, and you guys said, hey, let's do it this Saturday, and just didn't even think about anything else that could have conflicted, and lo and behold, it was 6:00, and it just hit me that, oh, yeah, I'm supposed to be doing the interview and not Hanukkah right now.
Well, at least you're not like Lowell and out judging the, was it the Cougar hunt or whatever?
Yes, that's right.
I thought we were going after this case.
He is, I guess, as we speak, he's probably at the very least getting ready to judge, and then I get the privilege of seeing him probably tomorrow. I'm actually coming to your neck of the woods, guys. I'm coming to Baltimore to watch the Redskins beat the Ravens with Lowell.
No. Yeah, there it is. Thank you. Crowd's a little, anyway.
Yes, I know. I'm talking to a Baltimore crowd.
You want to just trash talk right now, sir?
Oh, sure.
Go ahead. You begin. Go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you what. I know nothing. I will tell you what. Well, what do you mean we have nothing? We're on a 3-game winning streak. Beat the reigning Super Bowl champions last week.
You beat Special Ed.
And then we're coming in. Well, I should say the Ravens are coming into our house, and they lost a big game last week that they should have won if they're the team that they're supposed to be.
I have no dog. This is Casey. I have no dog in this fight. I'm actually an Eagles fan, so I'm going to tip of the cap to you, sir, and the Redskins. They're playing a lot better than we are this year.
Casey, my respect level for you has just gone down a bit because as a Redskins fan, a lot of people think that the Dallas Cowboys are the biggest rivals, but in my mind, it's the Eagles because I don't know you very well, Casey, but most Eagles fans I know are, I've said it on the Mark and Lowell show, the worst fans in the NFL.
No, I'm nothing like my other Philadelphia brethren. I actually don't, Philadelphia, while it is a very historic city, it's
crap.
Yeah, the fans reflect the city. So I grew up in Cecil County, which is kind of in northern Maryland, and we were actually closer to Philadelphia than we were Baltimore, so that's kind of where that.
Okay, yeah, because I've been to home games in Washington for just recently the Giants game and a couple years ago for an Eagles game, and on the Mike O'Mara show when I was talking about this past game with Mike, I was really bothered by how many Giants fans were there, and I felt the same way when I went to that Eagles game. The difference is that the Giants fans, the Redskins fans could have fun with them, and they would have fun back, and it would be kind of this, there would definitely be the rivalry there, but everyone's having a good time. When the Eagles fans are there, there's just this hatred that goes through the stadium, and the Eagles fans are just the most obnoxious fans coming into an away stadium, and I just can't stand it.
Okay, Mr. Redskin fan, what jersey do you rock?
You know what? I am anti-jerseys because...
Really?
Yes,
I'm the same way.
Well, I mean, I would love to sport a jersey around, but the problem is you buy a jersey and, more times than not, the guy has already left the team, a year later. And I'm not going to spend $150 on a good jersey only for it to be completely outdated within a year. It's almost like buying an iPhone and then, a year later you have to buy a new one, but at least you get something out of the iPhone regardless.
I don't know about this new one. No, I'm in between on it.
Oh, I'm happy with it. It wasn't it wasn't that orgasmic feeling that you normally get when you open up a brand new iPhone. It was a kind of a letdown, but it's still an iPhone, and I still love it.
Did you have a 4 before, or the 4S?
I had a 4. I did not. I decided to skip, which is the first time I've ever skipped a generation of iPhones, and so to me, it's a huge difference because it's so much faster than an iPhone 4.
Yeah, but you're pro Apple. I mean, I've had the Droids, I've had Blackberries, and I had the 4 before the iPhone 5, and aside from the internet speed, I don't see too much of a difference.
No, and obviously the screen. But I'm telling you, those Samsung Galaxies are comical. I mean, I understand that it's cool to have this huge screen, but it's like you're carrying around a phone booth.
And how can you put that in your pocket?
Yeah, exactly. It's just gigantic, and it's ridiculous. I see people with them, and I don't understand how they carry it around. That's just not my style. But get this. I know you guys, or at least I know for sure that Brian, you listen to the Mark and Lowell show, and you know
not anymore. I didn't know it still existed.
Yes, it does.
I do as well.
Okay. Well, you guys know that I have this ongoing feud with Lowell about the fact that he grew up a Redskins fan. He's now in Baltimore for the past 8-9 years, maybe longer, and he's all of a sudden, slowly but surely, become this Ravens fan. My problem is that when the Redskins start winning, all of a sudden, oh yeah, I've always been a Redskins fan. And if the Redskins start losing, the Ravens start winning, he's a Ravens fan. And just I always accuse him of being a big bandwagon fan. He claims that when I see him tomorrow, he and his wife will be out in Baltimore watching the game wearing Redskins jerseys.
Really? I thought he had Ravens stuff at home. Didn't he have like a something on his door when you went to his house for that live recording? He had some kind of Ravens stuff at his house.
Yeah, well, you know what it is? It's that the Redskins have won 3 in a row. The Ravens lost last week, so now he's a Redskins fan again.
He's a follower.
That's right.
Casey's kind of that way, too. He's kind of like when he saw The Dark Knight Rises, for example, a little bit of a change of subject.
Great movie.
Great movie, don't get me wrong. But when he saw that, he's like, this is the best movie. It's epic. And then he saw The Avengers, and then he's like, that's the best movie ever.
What I said was I can watch The Avengers probably 10 times and not get bored with it. The Dark Knight Rises is a little bit heavier of a movie. It's kind of like you can't eat steak every day because it's too heavy, but you can eat, a sandwich.
You guys are followers, though. You will jump onto something, just like you were a Yankees fan.
All right, now, what is this turning into, like, bash Casey?
Bash Lowell and Casey.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
No, but The Dark Knight Rises loved that movie, like all the new Dark Knight movies, that new trilogy, and the Avengers. I'm a huge comic book guy. I mean, I used to be. I grew up loving comic books, reading a lot. I was a Marvel Comics guy. I didn't get into a lot of the team superhero stuff. I liked the Fantastic Four for a little while, but so I had mixed feelings about the Avengers, but I was excited because I did like the Iron Man movies. I actually did like the Captain America movie, but I hated all the Hulk stuff, although the newest one was better. But what surprised me was, of all the Avengers, aside from Thor, because that's just kind of a weird thing that goes on with the Thor series, but the Hulk was my favorite character in the Avengers, which really shocked me.
All right, I'll say Hulk smash.
Yeah, yeah. But I have mixed feelings about the Avengers. I really liked it. It was a fun movie to watch, but I think The Dark Knight Rises was more of a real movie. I mean, it had a real story. Sorry to
interrupt. The way I phrased it to Case, I was like, you can't compare the two. It's unfair. Two different universes, first of all. And The Dark Knight Rises is a film, while the other one, The Avengers, is a popcorn flick movie. I think that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, I agree.
Acting, the story, while The Dark Knight Rises, the story was it was the weakest in the trilogy. I think The Dark Knight is obviously the best one out of it, and I like Begins even better than The Rises. I didn't think I would say that, but I did.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it kind of it's the second one was probably I don't know. It's hard to say if it was the best, but you could make an argument that 1, 2, and 3 in that order were that's how they rank.
Yeah, I think so. And the Avengers, I told Case when I watched it, I Redboxed it, and I was kind of disappointed. Maybe it was just because there was so much build up for it. I think in a way, I don't know. I mean, I admit there were some times where it was good, but Samuel L. Jackson was not Samuel L. Jackson in that. It's not like mother.
Yeah, that's
whatever.
right.
Mother Loki, whatever. I'll beep it out. I don't care. Yeah,
it's not Snakes on a Plane. Yes,
and there was no payoff at the end, and the villain was kind of weak. But
yes,
I'm not going to sit here and trash the Avengers all night. I won't do that. I do want to congratulate you and the rest of the Mike O'Mara Show crew on your 3-year anniversary.
That's right. Thank you. And I'm about a month behind 3 years with the show. I started in January of 2010, and the show started December 2009. But nonetheless, I mean, it's been an exciting ride, and it's been amazing being a part of this whole thing.
So, Mark, I understand you go a little bit further back with Mike O'Mara than that. So I understand you and Lowell were both interns, correct?
Yeah, we were, and even before that, we used to be, the just gung ho listeners, and as the guys call it, you could call it P1 listeners.
You called into the show a lot, apparently.
We used to, in high school, we used to wake up bright and early in the morning before we'd go to school. I would call Lowell, and then we would conference call WAVA and wait to talk to them. And night before, we would plan some kind of bit, all to try to make them laugh. And thankfully, we were pretty successful with it, and had a nice little run as a regular caller. And then a couple of years later, when we were in college, we needed something to do over the summer. This was after sex camp, which is a whole other story.
Sick people.
And we started interning and had a great time. It ended, which I won't get into now, but it ended somewhat abruptly, a little surprise ending that one day Lowell and I plan to share on our show.
Would that happen to be the fireside chat episode that
episode
that you've been teasing for? I feel like it's been months now.
No, since the beginning of the show.
Well, we always have said that the fireside chat would probably be around the holidays, and actually we are working on the format of that show right now. So that will drop either the last week of December or the first week of January.
Interesting. All right, I want to go back to the Don and Mike times, though. When you were on there, I think you mentioned this before, but refresh my memory. What was it like working with the guys there?
Well, it was interesting because we were such fans that, it's like working with, your favorite actor or your favorite musicians. You're a little starstruck. But, we got into a rhythm. I remember the first couple of weeks we were dying to get on the air, and, that we weren't really acknowledged very much. And what the funny thing is that a few weeks in, I had to go away to visit family, and it was probably a Friday, and I was so worried that Lowell would get on when I wasn't there, and I had even made him promise at the time. I said, don't go on the air, don't go on without me, don't go on without me. I'm listening to the show on my commute, and lo and behold, they say, hey, where are those guys? They used to call us the Menendez brothers, and it might be a little bit before your guys' time, but the Menendez brothers were the two brothers that ended up killing their parents, and so Don and Mike felt like that's what we were doing, is kind of plotting when the right time would be that we would kill them, and we got the name the Menendez brothers. So they said, where are the Menendez brothers? And of course, I wasn't there. And of course, Lowell came in, and I was devastated. But
did Dennis Murphy take your place in that, Robert the Mailman?
No, thank God. But thankfully, we had many other opportunities, and we had a blast. And then it became a great time because they often used us for, the typical intern hazing that went on, but we loved it. And as I often talk about today, it is the fact that Lowell and I hated Rob Spiewak.
Now, why is that? I think it's right there.
Because he was
Rob Spiewak.
He was Rob Spiewak, and he was the first intern that they really had at the very least, the first one that they really did a lot of stuff with. And then we came in shortly after he was an employee, and we always felt like, it's much like the fraternities feel. It's once they've pledged their fraternity and they were hazed, then they become fraternity brothers, and then they feel obligated to haze those pledges. So that's where we kind of felt like Rob really gave it to us because it was now his turn and he got to do it. And then the other thing is that we always felt like he really kissed a lot of ass, and it drove us crazy. Still does to this day.
What was the worst? Maybe not a prank, but you mentioned that Rob hazed you. What was the worst kind of incident that you can remember?
Man, with Rob, it was really hard. With Rob, it was. I don't have a specific, but I can give you an idea where we would work with him off the air, and he would give us a lot of praise and a lot of pats on the back, and then we get on the air, and he would just destroy us on the air.
That sounds like Brian.
Well, as being a new member of the Rob Mob, I have to be,
Oh, God. Well, now Mike's not going to run his fingers through your hair anymore, knowing that.
Oh, my God. You did see that, because I've totally forgot about that, too.
I didn't see it, but as I've told you, I do occasionally listen to your show.
Oh. I thought it was just,
No, I listened to that show. I told you I do, and you guys told me to listen to some of the later episodes, so I figured, well, let me start with the most recent, and then I listened to a couple others. And, for example, I think Casey's argument about the Avengers was that, Brian, you shouldn't have watched it on TV. You should have gone out and seen it in the actual theater.
I don't know. Everybody's always a critic, I know. Obviously, you're a Marvel fan, so you're going to stick up for them a little bit more. That's okay. You know what? But what do
you guys think about the new Superman movie that's coming?
I'm glad you mentioned that, actually. Because I was reading an interview with Christopher Nolan, because they're saying obviously he's producing it, and you have the guy who directed 300, Zack Snyder, and he directed Watchmen. He's going to be doing the movie, and they're afraid that it's going to be turning into too much of a Dark Knight kind of movie, because in the Superman universe. So.
That's true, but I mean, at the same time, what else can you do? I mean, the original series was what it was, and it was classic, and then they had Superman Returns, which I actually kind of liked. I thought.
All right, fine. I like that better than the Avengers.
Did you?
No.
He's he's doing that to piss me off.
I told Casey I like the Amazing Spider-Man better than the Avengers. That could be true though.
The most recent one?
Yes.
Yeah, I liked that movie as well. Again, being a comic book guy, it's hard to really disappoint me with comic book movies. I'll always find something I like about them. But
with the Man of Steel movie, what do you think? You don't think it's going to be anything original? Is that what you're?
I mean, it's just I think that the only thing they can do is make it a little more dark and try to reinvent the character, because Superman's probably the most well-known superhero. You got to do something different with him at this point.
Did you ever watch I didn't personally watch it, but did you ever watch Smallville? Because I feel like that was kind of, if they were going to do anything, that's what they should have done. Kind of reboot it, make him a little bit younger, kind of give that a little bit more humanity to him, as opposed to being the quote-unquote Man of Steel.
You see, I like the idea of doing what they did with Smallville as a series, but make it a movie. I couldn't hang with Smallville very long. I tried, but I want more superhero-related stuff in it. And I got kind of bored with him discovering himself as Superman. I just needed him to get to it already.
You know, it was also one, and I've never actually seen a Superman film aside from Returns before, but I did like the Adventures of Lois and Clark, the New Adventures of Superman.
Yeah, I did watch some of those as well, and I did like those. But
that's probably why I liked Superman Returns, because it kind of went with that a little bit. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But yeah. I think what they're talking about now, they were interviewing the director he's saying that because the big thing is the Justice League movie. And they're saying this could be that his Superman might be tying in. Or could be the beginning of it, possibly.
Well, that would be interesting. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Because DC Comics has seen what Marvel did with Avengers, and why not? And I mean, I've heard rumors of things like Wonder Woman movie, and those kinds of things. But so that would be an interesting thing. I think I can't imagine it being better than the Avengers, though.
I think it could, but here's the question, though. All right, do you pick up where they're saying this also? What if Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and for anybody who hasn't seen The Dark Knight Rises, spoiler alert, what if he ends up being Batman?
Yeah, that would be...
Would you be for that, though? I say no. I say just get a new Batman.
Get a new Batman. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do a movie like Justice League, you can get away with... adding, bringing in new actors to play those roles, and they did that with the Hulk in the Avengers. So I wouldn't mind that. It's when they, I just think that too many actors, it gets annoying. That's one of many reasons why the old Batman movie series tanked. Is there was never after what's his name,
Michael Keaton.
Keaton, there were so many different actors playing the role. It got kind of annoying. Yep.
No, I mean, I like Batman 1989. That's still one of my favorites. I mean,
with Nicholson,
the Jack Nicholson Joker in there is still iconic in my mind.
I agree.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
And if you guys haven't heard it or have forgotten it, go back and listen to that Prince song that was the theme of that Batman movie. I always get a kick out of that. Lowell and I used to listen to that constantly back when it was popular.
Oh, was it when they were in the gallery? Or
no, it's by Prince, and it's the main theme of the Batman movie, the original.
I think I have it.
He did 3 songs in that.
No, he did the whole soundtrack.
He did the whole
Danny Elfman did the score, but I'm saying whatever. I'll prove it to you guys. I'll find the song.
Iconic moment on the show. Brian has been stumped on movie trivia.
No, I'm telling you. I know Prince did it. I have the soundtrack, and I can't pull it up right now. It's not on my iPhone.
Well, the reason why I bring it up is because when you quoted that Nicholson line, that's what that whole song is it's a bunch of drops from that movie, and that's one of the drops in it. And that was the one that was played on the radio constantly when that movie came out.
Interesting. Anyway, speaking of movies, though, real quick, because you are kind of into this, I think, the Star Wars movies.
Yes.
First of all, which trilogy did you like better? This is asking a stupid question, but 4, 5, and 6, or 1, 2, and 3.
I only know one trilogy.
That's true, but we say there's one only. But he might. I don't know. I think he likes the second one better.
No, I mean I like the original trilogy better. And much like what I was saying about comic book movies, my love for Star Wars, I'll find the good in anything Star Wars related. It was, the first one, episode 1 definitely was the worst, and it dragged on. The kid was not a good actor, and I don't think it needed to start at that spot. I think they needed to jump right into more of an Anakin Skywalker that was in training from the get-go. I really actually liked the second one a lot. I don't know why. I think maybe it was the Jango Fett stuff that I found cool. I found cool that the whole
Yoda fight at the end.
The Yoda fight at the end was classic. What do you mean disappointing?
It was all CGI. It was too much CGI in that movie.
Well, otherwise, what? You're going to have a puppet and you're going to just throw it around the room?
Don't even do it. Leave it alone. They tainted Yoda.
No, I love that, and I remember when he
Have him fight the man with the golden gun in a lightsaber fight. Yeah.
When he walked into that room and pulled off his robe and grabbed that lightsaber, and the crowd just went berserk. I mean, that was just such an amazing moment. I loved it. It was a little weird that, you know, he is walking around with a cane, and then all of a sudden he's jumping off the walls and flipping and doing all sorts of tricks. And then, you know, of course, once he's done with the fight, he grabs the cane and starts limping again, which, you know, just a little weird, but I loved that. And of course, I think the last one was really exciting. Still doesn't compare to the original trilogy. And I'll say this. The problem to me with the new trilogy was there really wasn't a Han Solo. And exactly. I think you really need a Han Solo in that movie, a guy who doesn't have the Force, but he's still kind of a badass. He's a bit of a rebel, and he brings a whole other perspective to it that you have to have in those movies.
What do you think about the new trilogy? What direction do you think they should go?
I do like the idea of fast forwarding. I mean, it's going to be hard because you can't really bring the original actors back. They're way too old, and it's just it would be too weird. But I like the idea of a far fast forward. Maybe there are some legacy characters, people that are, you know, related to the Skywalker family, and they are moving on to, you know, a new struggle and a new fight, you know, to save the universe. But I think that's the way you go, is you just start from scratch, a brand new series with, you know, with all the elements of Star Wars, but just a whole new story.
I say leave it alone, and if you haven't seen my post, I say leave it alone and do not bring the Ewoks back. Last episode we talked a little about the Ewoks and why I've declared war on them. I recently watched Return of the Jedi, and while it had its good moments, I think don't bring in the little kiddie stuff. I still say George Lucas is probably going to be very involved in it. It's going to take a really good director. They're bringing back the original writer, one of the original writers of The Empire Strikes Back for episode 8 and 9.
Yep.
But the writer of 2 stories for 7. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with. Yeah, well, don't worry about Disney, because Disney, look, they've done some things where they've brought some movies to the screen where they're very hands off, and they were able to really allow people that know the stuff. Here's my example, maybe not a great one, depending on your love or hate for it, but I thought they did great with the Muppets. You know, I did not
see that, but I heard it was good.
Yeah, I think they did an excellent job with that, and they really allowed it to be what the Muppets are, and they didn't taint it in any way. And then, you know, they can be hands off because they're a big part of a lot of these movies from DreamWorks. All these computer animated movies, you know, they really kind of stay hands off, and those are huge successful movies. So I think they'll be okay with that. I think the fact that they are trying to bring in some original writers, I think is a good sign. And as far as the Ewoks go, you know, when I was a kid, the Ewoks didn't bother me. It is kind of annoying now. And you guys did know that the Ewoks were originally supposed to be Wookiees.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yes, and they decided to change it because I guess they didn't want to take away Chewbacca, but, you know, take away from Chewbacca. And that's a big reason why I think they brought the Wookiees into the new trilogy, was so that they could get back to that and portray that. And I guess with the technology that they had, they felt it would be much easier to do. But I hate Jar Jar Binks. Who doesn't?
Means I like you, Mark.
Yes, that was the absolute worst decision they could have possibly made. And, you know, I'm glad, though, that they recognized it and phased him out in 2 and definitely in 3.
Yeah, that was definitely good.
Yeah.
So I wanted to touch back on something that you mentioned earlier, and you were talking about Quench. So since you listened to the last episode, we had a discussion there. For us, like it just we were kind of giddy because it's we go there for trivia. Obviously, Mike was there, and it just kind of.
Hey, don't forget Rob.
Don't. Of course, Rob was there.
Boss.
But it kind of turned into something that I don't think anybody could have anticipated.
No.
Since you had mentioned that you got involved with the show a while back and you were a fan, what was going through your mind when you're sitting on a couch and then Mike O'Mara stands up and says, "All right, let's play karaoke"?
Well, I'm a huge karaoke fan, so anytime someone says let's do karaoke, I'm down with it. But knowing the condition Mike was in, I definitely was curious to see how the night would go. But not nervous. I've been with these guys way too long, to where there's nothing that really got me nervous. But, once that happens, you don't know where the night's going to go. And thankfully, I think it went very well with the exception of, singing the same songs over and over again and, repeating some lines over and over again throughout the night. Perfect pitch was definitely the line of the night. But I was excited. I mean, I was excited to see that those who stuck around really enjoyed themselves.
Yeah, and there was something at the very end, Case. I couldn't help but bring this up.
Yeah.
It was like B Rabbit. You came to the stage almost.
When he sang "Friends in Low Places"?
Oh no, I was talking. I was talking about the unknown member of the Beastie Boys.
Or the Fat Boys. Because the beatboxing came out, and sometimes when the night goes long and I'm handed a microphone and people are performing, I decide it's time to break out the beatbox, and I know I surprised you guys a little bit.
Did you pick that up from some Biz Markie albums?
I picked it up from and like I said, the previously mentioned Fat Boys. I used to love their beatboxing, and I used to, as a kid, take their cassette tapes and play it, listen to the beatbox, try to do it, rewind it, and do it all over again. And I would do it over and over again until I could somewhat hang with it, and it was kind of my thing back in the day.
Did your brother get jealous after hearing this? Just the thought,
No.
Remember the band?
No, my brother probably was. Well, actually, you know what? I did send him the video you took, and he appreciated it for the nostalgia of it, because he, of course, remembers me doing that nonstop and constantly.
So we should mention, since Brian brought it up, that your brother, Eric Ronick, is the lead singer, correct, of Black Gold?
Yes, he's lead singer. He writes all the music with his partner Ton Liu, and he plays the keyboards as well.
So there's a little bit of talent in the family.
There's a lot of talent, at least with my brother.
And you have perfect pitch, apparently. So, but no,
Yes.
you did
very good.
Very good. I especially, like I mentioned before, I enjoyed the Friends in Low Places rendition.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a fun one to do. But you know what, guys, I got to wrap it up because the candles need to be lit, and my daughter is anxious to open presents.
Okay, no problem. You can find, obviously, Mark on the Mike O'Mara Show.
Mike O'Mara Show. Yeah,
I'll let you do it, Mark. Go for it.
Yeah, it's very easy. MikeO'MaraShow.com every day. You can also find MikeO'MaraShow.com the Mike O'Mara Show on iTunes, and of course the Mark and Lowell Show. You can go to markandlowell.com or search for us on iTunes as well. We took a little hiatus so that I could focus on some important stuff with the Mike O'Mara Show, but we are coming back. Like I said, we're working now on the fireside chat episode where we'll revisit a lot of things from the past year and bring a whole bunch of new stuff as well. So, and I appreciate you guys supporting all of the projects that I'm involved with, and definitely wish you guys the best of luck with what you're trying to do.
Thank you. We appreciate your time, Mark. We really appreciate
No
it.
problem.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. All right,
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, Case, I don't know about you, but that was an interesting interview, that's for sure, to say the least.
How do you feel after? So I would say this is our first official interview. I mean, we've had guests before.
Our friends don't count as well. They're our friends.
Yeah,
yeah.
And
this is like an acquaintance / This
is an important person of note.
A VIP.
Yeah, I don't know if I think you're setting me up for a joke there.
I was going to, but I decided not to do it.
All right, now I feel the need to explain myself. So
Yeah.
one of the Mike O'Mara show things is the VIP membership. So one of their jokes is the enhance your VIP-ness.
Yeah.
So
Case doesn't have to enhance it because he can't find. Oh, sorry, I won't do that.
I swear one of these days we'll have Amber to back me up on that one. But but
I'll have to ask her later when I see her.
You will actually.
I'm going to see her later. Yeah, we're not having our own Hanukkah party tonight. We're
having a Christmas party.
We're going to a Christmas party.
We are.
We're bringing it along. That's why we're having this shortened episode.
Tag team back again.
Let's begin. Party on.
But I mean,
here's some Noah's tag teams.
How do you feel completing the interview? How do you feel?
We went in with a game plan, as always. You know me. I went in with a game plan. We had checklists.
Do I look like a guy who doesn't plan? I apologize. We're a little bit giddy right now.
Why so serious?
Yeah. Anyway, we went in with a game plan. I think it turned out really good.
I
had a lot of fun. You know, I knew he was. I'm sorry. I knew Mark was kind of a nerd, so to speak.
Wow.
I didn't mean to say
throwing our special guest under the bus.
That's not throwing it under the bus. I'm a nerd. You're a nerd. We're all nerds.
Well, yeah.
Okay. He's
okay.
What I like about Mark is he is an Uber fan too.
He's very easy to talk to.
Very easy to talk to. I mean, maybe he took over for part of the time too. I don't know. You know, well, the Mark and Lowell hasn't been on for a little while, so maybe maybe he's more comfortable with me or you and me than Lowell. I don't know. Yellow. Because some people are busy at cougar hunts or
Lowell.
We're going to throw him under the bus. Why not?
Lowell Melser at Cougar Hunt, whatever it is, hosted by 98 Rock.
Certified meteorologist.
I think that's just absolutely hilarious. But no, because it's really funny because listening to the show, you can when they actually do talk about the weather stuff.
Yeah,
he's a very intelligent person when it comes to weather and everything.
Yeah, but when you meet him, I think we talked about this before, but I have to bring it up again. Though.
It's weird. Well,
when we first met Lowell in person.
Oh, when you yelled sloth at him?
Yeah, sloth. Which is
a reference to, if you don't listen to the Mark and Lowell show, when Lowell was younger, that's what his sister called him, correct?
Yes.
And so
among other things,
Brian blanked out when he saw him in person and just shouted sloth.
I was so excited to see my favorite meteorologist that I just
he just had gotten. I think they just got done recording too, and he yelled at
with his cameraman.
The cameraman was just like, "What the hell are these people?"
And Lowell had to explain it too. And then I caught a whole bunch of hell on Facebook,
Yes.
and then when we were at Quench before, also, yeah. And Lowell's much bigger in person. Tall anyway. I'm not that kind of big.
But so I mean, another thing I was going to ask you.
Yes.
We've met Mark in person now at several Mike O'Mara show.
Yeah, because we're VIPs also.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
No.
But I mean, meeting these people,
these people.
No, the people that entertain
you always
us.
Talk about getting racist again.
No, I'm saying the people that we listen to these guys on their podcast,
yes.
and for a while, and maybe that has a little bit of influence on why we want to do it. We're fans.
We are P1s, as you like to say.
Well, I don't know if I'm a P1, but
I'm a P1.
All right, yeah, you're definitely a P1. You actually call into stuff. I don't.
What?
You've called into shows.
All right. Well, I've called into a couple. One that you don't know about.
There's one I don't know about.
There's one I didn't tell you about. Okay.
All right, can you tell me?
I can tell you really quick.
Okay.
So a certain person from TMOS, all right, Mike O'Mara, happened to be in Baltimore one night. This was during the summer, actually, and he was on a show.
90 Rock.
No.
He
was on there.
No, he was on 101. DC 101, right?
No, he didn't.
Oh, no, that's right.
We don't.
Never mind.
I'm sorry, but we don't like DC 101.
What was he on?
He was on Andrew Langer's show.
have no.
And WBAL
Okay.
radio.
Okay, WBAL radio.
I called in, and I not only was I being a P1, but I was being a total kiss ass. And I actually told him that on there too. And I was like, Mr. O'Mara, and he's like, I have so much respect for you saying Mr. O'Mara because you actually have manners or something along those lines. But I called in, my hands are shaking the whole time. My voice is like, oh my God, it's Mike O'Mara. And then, when meeting him then in person was even better, it definitely moved then. And then when he put his hands through my hair, then I had to change my shorts. But
that's gross.
I know it is.
No, but I'm saying
it's. I'm a big fan of what were we doing before we recorded? We were listening to Don and Mike's show.
That was you. You had old Don and Mike on your phone.
I'm serious though. I still listen to the old Don and Mike show.
But I guess what my point was, it's an honor and a privilege to meet people that
stop it.
What?
Nothing.
An honor and a privilege to meet people that we've had the pleasure of listening to that entertain us, and it's nice to meet these people and realize they're just people like us, and they're
just people.
They're cool. It's not like it's not disappointing. Like one of my excuse me, one of my biggest fears is meeting someone that I find entertaining, and then finding out they're the big D-bag, and then you're just like, well, that ruins it for me. Yeah. And it's nice knowing that these guys are they're still down to earth. They're they're good people to talk to,
and they're very we have a lot in common with some of them too.
And I think that's the fact that Mark was willing to come on the show, I think is a testament to
and
that.
the fact that he remembered, because we did ask him before
and listened.
Huh?
Actually listened.
He did listen, and Mark, I know you're probably listening to this, and you were so wrong about the Avengers. What a piece of movie, by the way. Anywho, though, Mr. Marc Ronick, we really appreciate you. Why am I mistering you? I don't know why. You're not here anyway. I can just say it. Yeah. Ronick, we appreciate you coming on, bud. Thank you so much. Anything else you want? Any words of wisdom, Case? Nothing?
Happy Hanukkah to everybody.
Shalom.
I don't know my Yiddish very well.
No, I was thinking about the bar mitzvah when you cut the bread.
No, I don't.
Or you cut the meat.
Pretty much all my.
I don't know anything.
I don't know either. I figure all you know is from that one episode of
Entourage.
Yeah, Entourage.
Yeah, yeah. No, I can't do it.
All right.
It was kosher as always. Thanks, Mark. Anyway, find us on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, and YouTube now. Find us on Twitter, BNCEXP, Facebook, Facebook.com/Brian Casey Experience. As Casey likes to say, we will return like
James Bond?
Yeah.
We will return.
We will return. Yeah. Next week. You know what, Case? I think we have some shenanigans that might how do they say shenanigans that ensue or
shenanigans will ensue?
Yeah. Tonight.
Oh yeah, hopefully.
It's a Christmas party. I'm the third wheel and I'm tagging along. What could possibly go wrong? I picture this being like Halloween, but
it's going to be exactly like the interview. You and Mark are going to team up against me. Just like you and Mark teaming up against me, you and my girlfriend will join forces and throw me under the bus. That's what happened last time.
At least I got a wing girl. That's the good news. Anyway, so we will return next week. Everybody have a great week, and we will see you next time. Peace out.
Bye-bye.
Time to take out the menorahs. Put on your yarmulke. It's time for Hanukkah. So much Hanukkah to celebrate Hanukkah is the festival of lights. Instead of one day of presents, we get 8 crazy nights. But when you feel like the only kid in town without a Christmas tree, here's a new list of people who are Jewish. Just like you and me. Winona Ryder drinks Manischewitz wine, then spins a dreidel with Ralph Lauren and Calvin Klein. Guess who gives and receives loads of Hanukkah toys? The girls from Baruch Assault and all three Beastie Boys. Lenny Kravitz is half Jewish, Courtney Love is half too. Put them together, what a funky, badass shoe! We got Harvey Keitel and Flash dancer Jennifer Beals. Yasmin Bleeth from Baywatch is Jewish, and yes, her boobs are real. Put on that yarmulke, it's Hanukkah. Two-time Oscar winner Dustin Hoffman celebrates Hanukkah. O.J. Simpson, still not a Jew. But guess who is the guy who does the voice for Scooby-Doo? Bob Dylan was born a Jew, then he wasn't, but now he's back. Mary Tyler Moore's husband is Jewish, 'cause we're pretty good in the sack. Guess who got bar mitzvahed on the PGA Tour? No, I'm not talking about Tiger Woods, I'm talking about Mr. Happy Gilmore. So many Jews are in the showbiz. Bruce Springsteen isn't Jewish, but my mother thinks he is. Tell Darul Hanukkah, it's time to celebrate Hanukkah. It's not pronounced Chanukah. The C is silent in Hanukkah. So read your hooked on Hanukkah. Get drunk in Tijuana. If you really wanna go, have a happy Hanukkah. Peace and love to everybody.
What? You're back where you should be at the home base at the podium, please. I want the show. You got to go back there.
Oh, I have no time to make my tie?
No, you have no time.
I have no time to make my tie. I got to go up here. Okay. I love this kind of informality. Are we ready now?
Yes.
We are. Okay?
You need about 5 seconds more.
4, 3, 2, 1. Hi! It's me, Super Jew. Jerry Lewis.